Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. Are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can continue any conversation that I ignite, and ignite is the word, over on my Snapchat and Instagram, Big Mouth, and over on my Twitter, at Movies TV Mad. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, joking, if you like what you see or you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the channel and comment down below. I want to read your tweet. I want to read your comments. Obsessed with tweeting there. I want to like and love them when you put them down. I want to respond as much as I can. So please comment down below and share the channel around, share the videos around, and see what kind of reaction this community is going to have. So welcome to the Star Wars and Marvel show. So really this is going to be mostly about Star Wars because Star Wars is in the news. There's a lot to discuss. But at the end I'll be talking about Kevin Feige's comments about how the low-key Disney Plus show will be connected to the Doctor Strange sequel. These are the only two things that interest me in Phase 4, but we'll talk about them a little bit later. So Star Wars. Listen, mistakes have been made. Gifts have been exchanged. There's nothing that Disney can do about the mistakes they've already made. They didn't realise when they bought this franchise how difficult it was going to be. Disney are a left political swinging company, and they were always going to be very tough on representation and equality. Now that didn't go very well with The Last Jedi. I said this before, that's not the element that bothered me. I just wasn't that interested or that entertained by The Last Jedi. But a lot of people were triggered by the identity politics, yada, yada, yada. Listen, mistakes have been made. They have to rectify those mistakes. We know the problems with Galaxy's Edge. I'll try and discuss that after I've discussed the films as well. So I think they're doing the right thing. Basically, there's going to be a Star Wars cinematic hiatus, which means no more cinematic movies for Star Wars for the short-term future. I would say at least 3 years, which is a shame because, you know, going to the cinema to watch a Star Wars film is so awesome. I mean, I'm going to be, you know, in the UK for Christmas when the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is released. Me and my brother will be walking down the local Odeon going to see it and be very excited. You know, I'm not going to prejudge this movie. I hope it's a great ending, a great conclusion for the Skywalker saga. I do get the impression that's what we're going to get. If you're expecting another negative Star Wars video, you've come to the wrong place, because I think what's done is done. We are all Star Wars fans. We want to see great movies and great Star Wars TV shows. And here's the thing. We are going to get them. We're going to get them. There's about 3 or 4 in development right now. So I think it's going to be really good. I think the TV shows are going to be really good. And I mean, I'm going to tell you something in a minute. Let me just pause this video. I had to do something and find something out. Anyway, right, yeah, so we got The Mandalorian premiering on November the 12th on Disney Plus. Now, that's what I wanted to tell you. I have actually seen the premiere of The Mandalorian. It is freaking awesome. It's like you're in the cinema. My screen's about 55 inches. I've got a sound bar as well. Amazing. You really, you know, subscribe to Disney Plus because you're really, really going to enjoy this series. I think it's going to be the same with the Obi-Wan miniseries, and they're developing a couple more. So the movies are on hiatus, but Star Wars isn't on hiatus. So this is what's going on. They're trying to redevelop the franchise. They're trying to fix what they went wrong. They're trying to be a little bit more adventurous, you know, and I think this is what they're doing. So they've made their mistakes. Now, a lot of people are adding 1 and 1 and getting 500 and deciding that the Rian Johnson trilogy is dead. They're not going to talk about the Rian Johnson trilogy, and let me explain to you why. Because they want everything with the first Star Wars show to go off without a hitch on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is so important. It's the new thing that they've launched. It's important that it's got consistency and people subscribe. This is a proper thing now. You know, they don't want to upset subscribers. They want people to come in for the Star Wars show. So they're not going to mention him. I think maybe within 6 months when it's all calmed down a bit and Disney Plus has kept its subscribers. They've got them addicted to the service. And, you know, Star Wars is going on really well on the streaming service as well. Then I think they'll probably announce that he is getting his trilogy. Look, I don't know. I'm just guessing. He may not be getting his trilogy. It may never happen. But also what I do think is that they're not going to give anyone their own way here. They know the fandom menace want him out. And they don't particularly want the fandom menace to get its own way. What do I think about Rian Johnson? I think anything that's not Star Wars is brilliant. Knives Out is brilliant, by the way. Whatever we think of him, Knives Out is brilliant. So he is very talented. He is a great writer-director. Just not on Star Wars, I'm afraid. It just didn't work out. But I think this thing could go either way. He could either get his trilogy or he may not get his trilogy. 50% of me kind of thinks, yeah, he will. And 50% of me kind of thinks, nah, they're going to go a completely new direction. But I think what they're going to do, they're being really clever, actually. They're steadying the ship. So what they're doing is they're pretending the reason Star Wars has had issues is because they put out too much too soon, which is absolutely not the case. But that's the agenda, that's the narrative they're going under. So what they do is for the next 2 or 3 years, Star Wars will be on Disney Plus. These 3 or 4 shows will do well. Everyone will be back on board with Star Wars. Hopefully for their sake, Galaxy's Edge, because Galaxy's Edge isn't even finished properly yet. Once it's finished, people will come in. It will be more like Star Wars, and things will get back to basics again, and they'll do okay. But now the big question that everyone's asking is Star Wars going to become an interlinked, interconnected franchise like the MCU? Yes, it is. Absolutely. There's no question about that. Kevin Feige is going to run this. This is not about Kevin Feige just doing one film. He's going to run this with a few other people, I think. The people who are already there, and he will join them. I think Kathleen Kennedy will remain to be the bureaucratic leader of Lucasfilm. That's just because it's written that they can't get rid of her. So they've got no choice. She will be there basically sharpening pencils, to use a Lionel Luthor from Smallville term, about Lex. But this is not DC. This is Star Wars and Marvel. But yeah, so she's not really going to be doing anything. But Feige is going to be there. He's going to be running the show, no question. And it is going to become an MCU-type franchise. Now, he's got his work cut out. How is he going to do this? What they're going to do, the team, because people have got working on these TV shows before Kevin ever was asked to kind of save this shit show. So basically, they're going to be working on these shows. These shows will be interconnected, I guess. And then they'll find a good jumping off point for a movie trilogy. So I think Star Wars will eventually be in good hands with Disney. They certainly had some teething problems. When you look at where they were with The Force Awakens, even at the time when everyone was so hyped for that movie, I said, this is just too good to be true. I mean, you know how they've landed on their feet with this. Star Wars isn't this easy. Star Wars is a hard thing to do. Star Wars fans are hard to please. Even if there was no Rian Johnson, no Last Jedi, you know, and all the issues that there's been. You know, these are a hard bunch of people to please. I mean, the hardcores turned on George Lucas, the father of Star Wars. So if they're willing to turn on him, they're willing to turn on anyone. I don't think you'll ever please them, but I can understand why people are upset with the certain way it's gone. The trilogy isn't very interconnected. It doesn't really have a good story to it. And they kind of really killed everything off by even before the rise of Skywalker. This is why JJ's had to bring back Palpatine. He really had no choice. I'm glad Palpatine's back. I'm excited for it. It'll be very interesting what they do with him. And let's see if they can finish this in a good way. As I say, we know mistakes have been made. There's no going back from that now. All they can do is try and fix what they've broken. They spent a lot of money on Star Wars. They need a big return from it. This was supposed to be a big profit. And as I say, they've made so many mistakes. But I think going forward, you're going to see these people, like the people who are running The Mandalorian, Dave Filoni. I think Feige will be working with him. I think it's very important that Filoni is involved because he really understands Star Wars from spending so much time all through his youth with George Lucas. So I think that's very important. And I think they've started to get common sense that Star Wars isn't easy. Not just anyone can run it. and you need a fan to please the fans. And Dave Filoni is certainly very talented, but he's also a fan. So I think with Star Wars, it's just going to have to be baby steps, and then we'll see what happens when they finally come back to the cinema. In terms of The Rise of Skywalker, it had to be done. They had to conclude it. They had to make a return movie, you know, a final movie, if you like. And I suppose in a way, they kind of think to themselves, look, we had to do this. We're going to throw everything at it. And then we'll fix this within Disney Plus. And I think there will be no mistakes made within Disney Plus because Disney Plus is so vital and important to Disney. So if they can fix Star Wars via Disney Plus, that will be really good. And then we go again. We see what happens. Now, over to the MCU, over to Marvel, as I promised I would. Basically, the news I'm hearing from Kevin Feige, not directly, but from other news outlets, is that the Loki Disney Plus show will be connected to the Doctor Strange sequel. And as I said on the top of the show, these are the two things, the only two things that excite me about Phase 4. I'm not interested in 4. I'm not interested in the other stuff they're doing. The Eternals, I don't even know what the Eternals is, to be honest with you. Tell me in the comments below. Educate me. Show me a reason. Why should I be excited for the Eternals? But in terms of Doctor Strange sequel and the Loki Disney Plus show being connected, interlinked, I think that's good. I think that's good continuity, and it's something that Feige does really, really well. I think that that's something that would interest me. I wasn't going to get Disney Plus, but I'm kind of excited for it. A bit frustrated it comes out in America first, but I've noticed Disney are doing something very bold. They're going to make it available to as much of the world as possible very quickly. Because Disney is so wealthy, they can sort out the copyright problems a normal streaming service would have. We saw it with DC Universe. It's still America only. I think HBO Max will be America only for a while, but if they can sort it out as quickly as Disney, that's a good thing. Because the thing it's going to be all over Europe from March. That's very, very quick for a streaming service. So I'm here in Cyprus, and I would want to get it as soon as it's available. And it's going to be available on all the devices, including the PS4, which I've got, by the way, which is awesome. So I want to get that. I wasn't going to get it. I wasn't really excited about it. But now I'm kind of thinking, yes, I want to keep in touch with the MCU stuff and the Star Wars stuff and all the other stuff they're going to be doing, because Disney do some cool stuff. As much as I don't like them, I can't argue that they have got some great IPs. So I'll be looking into subscribing to that, and obviously I will want to review stuff like The Mandalorian, and hopefully there's another way I can see that before I do get Disney Plus, because obviously not in Europe to the new year. So I don't want to wait till then to watch The Mandalorian. So yes, I want your comments down below. Are you excited that the Doctor Strange and Loki Disney Plus show are going to be connected? What kind of connections are they going to have? Are they going to have this kind of bantery partnership? Who knows? Will Benedict Cumberbatch actually be in the Loki Disney Plus show? Well, basically, it's the same budgets as the films. It's the same thing. It's Kevin Feige, so nothing's actually going to change. So, yes, I think Benny Cumberbatch can be involved in that. No problem about it. As for Star Wars and there's their problems, do you agree with me that what's done is done? We have to look forward. They have to kind of relaunch it in a way via what they're doing with Disney Plus. Are you still angry? Are you still going to hold a grudge with Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm, and Disney? It is hard for me to hold grudges on people, and it's not something I really, really want to do. So please comment down below, like, share, and subscribe, and there'll be more Star Wars news and videos as soon as there's anything to post.